Welcome to the Cross the Line Podcast. My name is Carlos Smith, and today's episode is sponsored by KB's Car Care on 321 North Main Street in Jonesville, South Carolina. They offer a hand car wash, vacuum, and clean interior. Full detail is now available. While you wait on your vehicle, customer seating is available as well as a dining area. They're open Tuesday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., so make sure you stop by. Also, today's episode is sponsored by Charlene's Home Cooking on 1136 East Blackstock Road in Moore, South Carolina. Charlene's Home Cooking is a family restaurant that cooks like grandma with fresh veggies and meats cooked to order. You can do a meat with 2 sides, a meat with 3 sides, or a veggie plate. Cake, pies, and cobbler are also available for dessert. She wants you to feel at home anytime you stop by, so make sure you visit Monday, Thursday, and Saturday from 11 to 6, and Friday and Sunday from 11 to 7. Everything is fresh and from the heart, and she would love for you to stop by. So thank you guys again, KB's Car Care and Charlene's Home Cooking, for sponsoring this episode. Also, would like to let people know once again that my new book, F School Life, is available. F School Life is Your Best Teacher is available right now. Pretty much already know what F means, but the book is also available on Amazon and also on my website, carlosksmith.com. PayPal, if you want to pay with PayPal, it's carlossmith10@yahoo.com, and my Cash App is Carlos K. Smith. So thank you everybody who's been supporting the book. If you haven't got your copy, make sure you get a copy. It's definitely worth it. Definitely worth the investment. So yes, nevertheless, hope you guys enjoyed it. And anybody that has the book, please make sure you stop by. Feel free to leave comments. But today we have another very special guest with us. Director, producer. He has a new film coming out. A film called Tools. Today we have joined by the director and producer of it, Mr. Jonathan Oglesby. How you doing?
Doing all right, man. Thanks for having me, bro.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate you reaching out, man. Just in case you didn't know, this is a platform, Cross the Line Podcast. We love to have entrepreneurs, anybody with a vision that want to share their gifts. It's all about this. What this platform is for. So I appreciate you taking the time to reach out and just share your story and talk more about this upcoming film that you have coming out. So for people that's watching this right now, just to let them know, who is Jonathan Oglesby before we get into the film?
Who is Jonathan Oglesby? Ordinary man, driven, motivated, father of 4, father first, business and everything second. So I like creating. I'm a creator, writing, music, writing, film. That's my lane, man. If I can't create, that's like locking me in prison. So, and I love motivating and inspiring people, man, with whatever I do. That's the whole goal. That's the whole mission. If I can't do what I love and inspire and motivate people, I don't have no purpose in life. Right. So I just continue to do that, take care of my kids, and do my craft, man.
Yeah, I know you said we'll get a little bit into your background as well. I know you said you weren't originally from. You say you were from Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City. Born.
Go ahead. Talk a little bit about your background.
Born but not raised. Was adopted to a military family. Moved around everywhere, 4 or 5 different states overseas. So I'm cultured, you know what I'm saying? So, and that just molded me into the person I am today. And I still know my biological family. That's the crazy thing. I met them 10 years ago. So got a whole bunch of brothers and sisters, man. So they act just like me. So it's like I ain't missed no years. But yeah, man, just.
That's interesting. I know we're here to absolutely talk about the movie, but talk a little bit about it. You say you met them 10 years ago. Was for the first time?
For the first time.
And how was that experience? Meeting them for the first time.
It was weird, man. It was probably a little more than 10 years ago. It's right when I got married, so it's probably been 13 years ago. First anniversary present, she said, "I'm gonna look for your family." I had a little piece of paper that my mom had, my adopted mom had. She gave it to me when I turned 18. So I'm like, I don't care, man. This is my mom and dad right here. I'm good, you know. But it's in the back of your mind, you want to see who your blood is, you know.
Right.
So she, went to Facebook, Googling and everything like that. Then she found my sister, my youngest sister. She's 20-something. Reached out to her. She called somebody. She called somebody else. Then my grandma hit me up, and that's when Obama was, running. Mm-hmm. She said, "Let me call you back. Obama having a speech. Let me give you a call back." I said, "Okay." I said, "That may not be her." She called back. He said, "Let me make one phone call." Came back, said, "Yep, that's my grandson." So he said, "You got a whole bunch of siblings," and I met my mom first. Then like a year or so later, I met my dad. So it's a weird experience, but you know.
Did you have a relationship with any of your siblings before then, or anybody? Or
No,
just...
They adopted my brother too, so that's all I knew was my adopted brother.
Okay.
So I didn't know none of them. I just had a piece of paper that said my sister's name, my brother's name, and Oklahoma City Hospital, blah blah blah. Father worked construction, so that's all I had.
You feel like they had any kind of impact on you growing up?
Nah. Cause I was adopted at birth, so it's it was my mom and dad is the one that raised me. So having my biological mom and dad, that was just cool, you know. But
is there any kind of I would say like a connection with them nowadays, or just you just doing your own thing and like just pretty much taking care of your family? Is there any kind of like staying in touch?
Yeah, I more so keep in touch with my siblings more so than my mom and dad, you know, so, but it's no animosity or hard feelings. It's just like, I'm glad somebody adopted you and afforded you the life that you have because we couldn't do it. So, and I said, hey, that's the best thing you could have done was give me an opportunity to have a better life. So, my mom texts me every now and then, and my dad, he the one got 15, 16 kids. So, I'm like the third, fourth oldest, so.
So growing up, how did you get into like what were kind of some of the things you were interested in growing up with the sports? I know you're doing the directing and producing now, and of course, say writing music. What was some of like your interests growing up?
My interest growing up was I used to rap. So I didn't rap. I used to write books, like rap books. Like I write a whole song on a piece of paper, number it, and I have like a book of 20 songs written. And I said, "What you doing?" So I drew my own artwork on it and everything, and people reading it. And the crazy thing about it, everybody else that was rapping started writing books, and we were passing around the school. And it was like, "When you gonna write another, music book or whatever?" I'm like, "I got you." So I write another one, and it was just more so not the rapping or the music part. It was just the art of writing, which I like, because I wrote one that you can read regular, that you can read it backwards and it mean the same thing. So it was like a creative writing thing, and it inspired people to write as well. So rap, music, writing has been there since the beginning. First it was drawing, then it turned into writing, and I've been writing ever since. Not a very, very big sports head. I love sports, but like the stats and everything, and I don't follow that. I just like to play. I just like the game. But writing has been my thing the whole time. So
you have any albums or anything like that, or just like those books that you were saying?
I just had those books. My mom and dad still got them, man. It's like 4 or 5 thick rhyme books.
So fast forward a little bit. When did you get into like writing? Is this your actual first movie that you've written?
Yeah.
Produced?
Yeah.
When did you start doing like writing these type of things, like movies and stuff like that?
Well, my first experience, I was writing plays for my church. And I said, you know what, I can do this. It's another writing avenue. So I did 2 or 3 plays, small little plays in church. And I would just write. I'll go over stuff in my mind first. I don't write everything out all the time. It's a concept in my mind. I would just write when I finally got the full concept in my head so I can write real fast. And I knew that I could tell a story from those plays I did in church. So, it just fell in my lap. Another way to write, man. Another way to express myself. Another way to convey feelings and emotions and situations. So, and it's also good to escape from reality sometimes. Go in your own little world because there's a lot going on. So if I can create a narrative on my own that may be fictional, but can inspire people, that's my goal.
All right, so talking about the movie Tools, talk a little bit about the name and what inspired you to make this movie.
I'm a minister, so I minister to people, but I'm so different than the normal, I guess, pastor or whatever you want to call it, because I'm practical. I like to be real. That's my whole lane. I may not carry myself like like a minister, but you're gonna leave inspired of, you know, I'm gonna leave a positive, you know, impact on you. So I got tired of that. I'm like, I'm not reaching the real people that don't even come to church or not cool on the organized religion. So I said, let me write something to, when I said let me write something, I said, God, give me something to, just give me something so I can reach these people. Because I know a lot of people believe in God, it's the Bible Belt, but a lot of people don't rock with church, and I totally get what they're talking about. So I said, all right, he gave me tools, and like I said, I just go over there in my mind. I hooked up with my homeboy Antonio, and I said, I got an idea for a film. He said, okay, well, we can meet up at the library, we can chop it up about it. And we had like 4 or 5 sessions, we going over ideas, writing notes. End of the 5th session, I said, all right, I'm gonna write now. 2 weeks later, I wrote a whole movie script, screenplay, gave it to him, I said, read it, let me tell you. He said, okay, you wrote that in 2 weeks. And that's what started the ball rolling, starting from nothing. We didn't have anything, we just had the script. Yeah, so that's how the idea for Tools came about, man. And the title Tools is it's different, man. It's people say Tools, people say that's a good title. I'm like, I'm so tired of hearing the next one. Right. You know, it's been years, man. But yeah, so Tools has been a concept 2 years in the making. 2 weeks of writing, 2 years in the making, and we finally at the finish line, man.
So what kind of, like, to give people watching this an idea of like what the movie is about? Can you give them a little bit? Don't tell everything, but kind of like an idea of like what the movie is actually about.
The movie follows the story of a young man named John, ordinary kid, but he gets hit with something very traumatic in his life that kind of spirals him out of control. He going through all these emotions, and something tragic happened. Then he goes to the streets, man. Gets put into foster care, and it shows that lifeline of him going through these different situations, but all that led him to prison, and he vowed when he gets out he was going to change his life. But when he got out, he will soon realize that it's easier said than done. And he goes back to the old friends and the old block, and he sees a difference in one of his homeboys who actually changed his life around, and the other man is still in the same spot where he was in. So it follows a narrative of 3 people, but the main character is named Al Harris, man. He knocks it out the park, man. But it follows somebody that is trying on the road to get their life right, somebody that is has their life in order, and another person that has his life nowhere near where he wanted it to be. So it follows that narrative of, in a nutshell, it's just life.
I was gonna say, where did you get the inspiration? Because it sounds like something that's very relatable already, but like, was it something that kind of influenced it, where you got some ideas from, or how did you come about this concept?
Yeah, like I said, like me and Antonio, we was chopped it up about life. We just have sessions 2-3 hours about just stuff that happens in life, traumatic stuff, or suicide. It talks about depression, all these things that people go through in life. That you would never know are going through these things. So we wanted to shed light on those dark places and make it into a story about, these people went through this, and you can go through it and you can still live a fruitful life, but it's also, it can end real bad too. So it picks a lot of different narratives in life and brings it to a story, so everybody that watches it can get at least one thing out of it. That was the goal. If somebody can leave with one thing that they got from the film, that's what we inspired to do, man.
Absolutely. How did you come about getting your cast? Was it like a group of people who were experienced, or was it first time, or was it a combination of both?
It's a combination of both. Some seasoned actors that just love the craft. Thank God for them. They came through. Because we had a casting call. It was real bleak. And a lot of people that I knew to act was booked. So I'm like, okay, what I'm gonna do now? So we had this whole new wave of new people, and I'm like, man, we gotta do some training or something. So we trained, practice for a year, going over the script, going over emotions, going over these things. So it was some training involved. Then we got to memorizing the lines, man. So it was a year process, and that's not normal for film. You get it 2 or 3 months, and it's time to film. But yeah, it was daunting, but it was necessary for what we had to put out, and they killed it. I mean, the level that they're at now, getting booked in Atlanta, getting booked here, just shows that if you have a passion for something, all you need is like a little bit of training or a little push, and it can elevate you, man. So, yeah, a combination of both.
Yeah,
it's a combination of both.
I was gonna say, was it hard? Not saying that. I guess I want to say it was kind of hard blending all those egos because, of course, like you said, some people were experienced and some people were new, and they may not be the lead person in this movie. Was it kind of hard to blend all those egos, or did pretty much everything kind of flow?
I'm glad you said that, man. That was the when you dealing with all these personalities, man, and you got to understand the independent film, the budget is super low. I mean, it's you pulling money from everywhere, pulling money from my account, business owners, donating and sponsoring, but dealing with attitudes and different degrees. When you're in a place for a year, it's gonna be some friction. So what I did, I just pulled myself back and let the chips fall where they may. And that's how I kind of kept the peace between everybody. Some people didn't like the direction of their character or, common things that they go through. But some people left, actually. I ain't gonna hold you. Some people left.
So they kind of like slowed the process again. You had to find other people to replace them. And
the crazy thing, it didn't slow down, man. It was like they left. Week later, we got somebody else, but they was even better. So I think it was a necessary thing that had to occur to get us to the next level, man.
Mm-hmm. And everything happens for a reason anyway. And it's like you said. I want you because I watched something you said on your in one of your videos on your page about that vision. Like you said, the budget was low. You didn't have all the necessary equipment that you needed at the time, but you had this vision. So how important was it to get people sold on your vision? And I want you to also talk about how important it is to actually have a vision.
Yeah, that's true. Without vision, you blind, man. Mm-hmm. When you blind in this world, it leads to a dark place, man. So, but I believe in life we meet everybody that we need to meet to get us. And never forget who you meet. Never forget who you shake hands with or say what's up to or follow on Facebook or IG. All of that is leading up to your ultimate vision. And thankfully, I knew a cinematographer, Smith A. Lee, one of the biggest.
I heard he's phenomenal with camera.
And I met him years ago when he first picked up a camera. I wanted like the first few people he shot, and he was going through the lenses. Now to see his level that he is now is crazy. But I met him, then I met, and he connected to a lot of people. Even with the soundtrack, I knew Siege, I knew Reggie Rock, I knew all those people. So when the vision came and I wanted to do this, everybody that I needed to reach out to was there, the main people, and they brought other people in to help. So vision is important, man. I think a vision is more important than a dream. A dream changes daily. A dream is fueled by emotions at the time. A vision is something that you had since birth. When you came out of your mother, you had a vision and you had a purpose. So when you come out, you already behind on the vision. You're already behind on what God wants you to do, and you have to find it. Whatever makes you cry is what you meant to heal. Whatever makes you mad is what you meant to solve. So that's and without vision, man, this your vision. Right is my vision. It gives you energy, man. It fuels you up. It amps you up, man. It makes you wake up every day. A job don't make you wake up every day. Say, I love life. No, what you do outside of your job, fuels it. What you do on the weekend fuels your passion and your will to live, so to speak. So, yeah,
100%, man. It's like you saying, like doing what you love, but like if you just going, and I talk about a lot of that in my book as well. Like we was talking off camera, it's like
go get the book.
Absolutely, most definitely, man. And it's just like, man, you wake up and you go through those motions of getting up, going to work, and it's like people just do it. Of course, they want to just work to pay their bills, but like
they're programming.
Exactly, programming. It's all about reprogramming your mind, because if you don't. Like one of my favorite people I've encountered on my journey, you might know him, Ben Hall that owns Big Ben Dessert. Man, Ben is one of the, I tell him, but they probably heard it so much on this podcast. Like, man, he talking about Ben again, but it's like the impact that he had on me throughout my journey is like, man, it's amazing, because it's like like he was telling me, like without him baking cakes or without me having this podcast, not saying that we would never ever meet, but it was a slim chance that we would cross paths like that. And just like now today with you with the movie and this podcast, we might not have had this opportunity to sit down and build like we are today because of the things that we have and just that vision. And it's so important because everybody's not going to see things that you see. It's like, that's why it's your vision, man. It's your gift. But it's like when you do something for a purpose and it's fulfilling, man, it just puts the way that you can impact people. That's one of the most amazing things about a vision to me, is because you never know how, like I shared something yesterday with my cousin. She texted me after she read my book. She said she read the entire book in one sit down. And she was like, thank you, because you inspired me to, go after my goals.
That's a good book. You read the whole
amazing.
thing,
And my aunt, I never forget my aunt when she came to the book signing, and when I got up there and did my speech, I got emotional. I started crying because it made me reflect back on just my journey of everything that I went through, being broke and traveling, not having any money to go shoot a lot of interviews, but still finding a way to do it and having people believe in you and support you.
There you go.
And when you get up there and you speak about your vision and like the things that you went through on your journey, man, it made me emotional. So she texted me the next morning and she said, you inspired, my aunt texted me and said, you inspired me to go after my goals. So it's stuff about just having your vision and how we can impact other people. Like, that's one of the most amazing feelings ever, man.
Definitely, man, because people with vision, they're so locked in. They got tunnel vision. Mm-hmm. So they don't really know who they're impacting if somebody walks up to them and say, hey, you inspired me.
Right.
And we need that as fuel, because it's like, am I doing, I love doing this, but am I doing the right thing?
Exactly. You had those moments where you question.
Yeah. You question, like, man, don't know, people saying I'm crazy or foolish. Mm-hmm. But like I always say, man, you don't have to have the provision to have a vision, man. Just take that first step. The first step is the hardest. And I didn't have no money doing, the film. Yeah, I was, I'm like, man, I'm adding up all the bills. I'm like, man, this stuff expensive. But the crazy thing is that we did it, Mm-hmm. I say we because it took a village to do that. But people were saying I'm crazy, I'm like, no, but I love doing this. Mm-hmm. I don't care how much money it takes. If I feel at peace with it, I'm good, man.
Absolutely. And another thing that's just amazing about a vision, and I study a lot of entrepreneurs, and I always hear them say, write down your goals, and when you have this vision, don't worry about how it's going to happen. Like, it's not up to you it's not your problem. It's not up to you to figure out how it's going to happen, like where the money's going to come from and all this stuff. But once you get on your journey, the main thing is just to get started. And then it's just amazing, like how more and more people will just reach out to you and pour into you when you have that vision of what you want to do in life. Like, you will be amazed at like some of the people that we've come in contact with that have helped us out and done anything for us and still support us to this day. Like those type of things don't happen unless you start your journey. Exactly. So it's all about one foot in front of the other. You're not going to see everything on your path. No. But once you start and once you get going, and you'll just be amazed at like everything that starts happening on your journey.
The only people that know that is people that's operating in their vision, man. And like, it's lonely at first. Somebody give you an encouraging word that fuels you up for like a month. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? You ready to go for the whole month. But yeah, I agree with that, man. How can people see you if you don't step out?
Absolutely. So what kind of impact are you hoping that the movie has when people finally get a chance to watch it?
I'm at the point now, man, I'm glad it's over. But I realized this after it was over that I hope I inspire somebody too, because a lot of filmmakers here, man. But they get overwhelmed with the budget. They get overwhelmed with all these things. So my goal was just to inspire people to tell their story. Like, it don't matter if it look crazy or it may not look the exact way you want it. But in film, you can sell that vision to somebody, mm-hmm. and they can redo it and make it what you wanted it to be originally. So, inspire the filmmakers, inspire people that are in entrepreneurship as well. Because if you got the plan, you say, "Man, I need all this money. What I'm gonna do? You don't need it. Just go. Somebody's gonna help you, and you're gonna figure out a way to get it done. Where there's a will, there's a way." So my inspiration is somebody that's dealing with depression, anxiety, anger, bitterness. I hope this gives them a sense of healing. I hope it gives them a sense of direction when they leave the film, and do some self-inventory on themselves to get rid of some things that's in them to help them elevate, man. That's the goal.
Did you have anything in this movie that was kind of like coming from like your life experience?
Oh yeah. See, I didn't want to say that, but I realized after I wrote it that it kind of almost mirrored my life in the emotional sense, you know. But the crazy thing about it, I'll say this, and if Al was here, the lead actor, he would say this: the story I wrote, is almost directly the experiences he went through, almost verbatim. I'm like, what? Yeah, this happened to me. This happened to me. This happened to me. You sure you didn't write this about me, bro? I said, nah, but if he was here, he'll tell you the whole. He long-winded, so he'll tell you 15 minutes.
So you wrote it, and then he kind of said, "Man, this was something kind of relatable to him."
Because me and my homeboy was in the Antonio. We was in the library, and we was done. So we said, "All right, what's the next steps? What we gonna do? How we gonna get this vision out? Who gonna play the lead role? That's the most important." And he said, "Let's do Al." I said, "Al, let me hit Al up." He said, "Man, I do it. I love to do it, man. I really don't act like that," because he a rapper. I really don't act like that. So I said, he read it. He said, "Man, this is my life." And I said, "That's perfect. That's the perfect fit." And he kills it in this film, man.
And you know what's amazing though, Rick, honestly? Like, even when you share your story, like, it makes you really realize that we have a lot in common with people more than we really think. We may not even talk about it,
Yep.
but it's so many things that you go through that other people are really going through. They just don't express themselves in that way. Like, even stuff I wrote about it, like you said, with your friend in the movie, like when he read the script and even in the movies, like so many of the things that happen, like it's so relatable to people. That's another thing that's really amazing. It's just a lot of people don't express themselves that way, like you said, your friend did.
Right. Especially men don't express themselves.
Absolutely.
So, but I'm glad you said that. That's actually in the film. You'll see it. That kind of, I can't tell it, but it's that kind of correlation that people are going through the exact same thing you're going through, but you would never know because people don't speak about it. Especially men, they don't speak on it. You know, women, girl, I've been through this, I've been through that. Men are like, I'm good, bro. You know,
that's it. I mean, just hold it in. We don't really want to say too much. Especially nothing negative anyway.
Yeah,
You're not gonna, because it's almost like you're showing a sign of weakness.
Yep.
So it's like, as men, we have to like be strong and of course, not let everybody in. Of course, you have those moments where you want to break down everything, but it's. I think we're starting to get to a point now where more men are starting to open up. Of course, like mental health is something so big nowadays, but it's definitely something like men have an issue, had a problem with definitely in the past, like being that strong father figure, the head of the household. So you don't want to show that sign.
Yeah, we cry in the car.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Facts.
Man, I'll tell you, I promise you, like at my event, and this may, I'm not gonna say it's gonna happen to you, but it may, if you get a chance to speak at your event, man, and you reflect, man, I promise you that's one of the things that hit me hard, man, because you just want to, when you reflect and you share your story, your journey, the thing, because people don't know what you go through to create what you did. It's like, man, it just hits you, and it's just like one of those moments, man, where you just get emotional.
Yeah, I'm dreading that moment, man. When I look back at it now, you know, I had my moments, you know. But that's what everybody told me, like you said, when you hit that stage and you finally show it,
it's emotional.
Yeah, it's gonna be emotional.
And to see how you bring people together that you didn't think would come, like you gonna have people you never even seen before come. And like for me, I had some of my friends from college. We graduated 7 years ago from upstate in 2014. And that was the first time a lot of us were in the same room together at the same time since then. So to see how something that I had a vision for and created brought everybody back together, man, it's powerful, man. And it'll break you down, man.
Yeah, I
promise you, but it's definitely a great feeling, man. I'm really happy. I'm really excited to see the movie as well. I'm definitely looking forward to it. But I want to talk about something else. What other obstacles did you face when you had to create this movie?
Oh man. Money. Obstacles. There's been we did this. We wrapped a year or so ago before COVID. So I got a lot. I went through a lot. Like people backing out last minute. Money issues, deposits due. Improvising. Entrepreneurship and independent filmmaking go hand in hand. You gotta improvise, man. Mm-hmm. You gotta pull a rabbit out of a hat, man, and just so every day on set. And I'm gonna say this before we go any further, that this film was shot in 9 days. Like,
wow,
2 hour and 15-minute film was shot in 9 days, which is unheard of ever. So
probably long hours.
Oh man, for me it was. Actors come in, do their movie, they set, they leave. I'm like, I wish I can go, but I gotta stay. But the long hours, things not turning out the way you wanted it to, was the hardest for me, because when you're a visionary, you want everything to go kind of the way you want it to. But honestly, it didn't. But it made for experience. When you go through something, it gives you experience. So money, improvising, and just trying to keep my head up through the whole process. Even after, when COVID hit, that was a whole nother thing. I'm like, oh man, now I gotta sit on this for God knows how long.
So the movie was supposed to have released last year?
Yep.
Damn.
Last year, and crazy thing is, people still asking, when is it gonna drop? I said, it's COVID out there.
Right.
I said, I gotta recoup. It's not even really about money now. I don't care. I do care. If it's sold out, dope. For people that's there, I'm cool with it. But my thing is, I completed something that hardly anybody ever completes.
Right.
On that level. Short films, yeah, but not a feature length film, man. So
absolutely, and to have it ready. So the good thing is, at least you guys had it. Everything was wrapped up before COVID. It was just like you just had to delay it.
Yeah. The crazy thing about it, man, speaking of depression, I was depressed for a little bit because we had everything lined up, bro. We had reached out to a chain of theaters, a dining theater, called somebody in Chicago. They hit me up with the senior VP or whatever. I'm like, okay. She was kind of mean at first. I'm like, oh, this ain't the wave right here. He said, yeah, I can hook you up with this, boom, 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 and we'll show it at all our theaters. When you get the final cut, send it. I said, okay, dope. So I had everything going to Canada for a press thing. They do black films there. They was gonna do like a whole premiere. Had everything set up, and boom, COVID hit, and they got ghost. Like,
oh man.
So it's about.
I don't even know if theaters even open now. I don't even know if they're.
I think they opening up later this month. I think end of this month or May or something like that. But
because it seems like a lot of stuff now is like a digital, like streaming and stuff now. So I'm like, man, I haven't seen it coming to America. That was something probably would have been big in theaters, but since COVID, it's like they just released it digitally. So
yeah, it was. You had to pivot, man.
Yeah.
I said, what else I'm gonna do? How I'm gonna release it? I know I got the premiere, but I can't do the premiere. So it's like sitting on something that you invested everything into and just holding it. Mm-hmm. So when it finally opened back up, man, I said, we gonna do this and we gonna get it over with, but actually show people this amazing film, man.
Absolutely. Speaking of the pandemic, what would you say overall was like the biggest thing that you learned from the pandemic?
Keeping what's important close to you, man. We tend to overlook important things in our lives, friends, family, or where we just simply are in life. Give you time to reflect on all the things you've been through, how far you came, and that was my biggest thing. I kind of paused and just looked at everything, but it also rekindled my drive to keep going. Initially this was just gonna be a one and done film, but then I started writing more, more structured, more methodical. So it just made me refocus on things, cherish things that are close to me and don't take them for granted. It really had a time, because we don't stop and breathe like that. We just go. But just having to sit there and just look around us, man, You can either get depressed or inspired, man.
Absolutely. I love them for the fact, man, just to just like take a break and just relax and just be still for a moment. I saw somebody make a meme. They said something about they missed the days of COVID where it was no traffic or whatever. Because there was no traffic on the road. No. Like you could just go anywhere you needed to go, in and out. And then, but now, things are starting to pick back up. Now you're still happy to see people, but it was just one of those things, man. Like, I think family was like the most important thing, man. Because like you said, everybody's just so on go all the time. And like the sacrifice, especially like as an entrepreneur, like you just having to, you miss a lot of things. Like I know I did. Like a lot of times my friends would have things. I didn't go because I'm working. Yeah. Like we traveling, shooting interviews. I'm working on the book. You're trying to make all these deadlines and everything. So it's like you still miss those moments, a lot of those moments. And it's like now when something like that happens, it makes you appreciate it so much more. Of course, now I try to go to as many things as I can now, but of course, it's still you're human. We have our own things going on, so still not able to make everything. But just letting your people know, man, you love them, you appreciate them for everything they doing, man. Like to me, that was like one of the most important things from the pandemic.
I kept it G. I went to Florida during the pandemic.
We went to Jacksonville.
Really?
Back in November, but it was wide open. Like they never. It was people going out without a mask and everything like that. We shot 3 interviews down there, and we were in Jacksonville. Like it was business as usual.
Man, we went in the summertime. Oh my goodness. It was mad. It was like a desert, like a deserted, man. It was everybody had masks on, and we went to Tampa and we went to Orlando.
Now it was some people that had a mask on, but a lot of places they did. I remember we went to Chattanooga, Tennessee as well, and that little section we went to, man, we went to get something to eat. I forgot the name of the place we got a burger from, but some people don't want to wear a mask, and but for the most part, man, it's still.
I think it's the same people that stormed the Capitol.
Pretty much. They didn't want to say pretty much, kind of the same way, defiant.
Right.
They didn't want to believe it, but man, of course I wore my mask, man, especially because it's not about me, it's about, protecting other people,
Facts.
Man, especially like elderly people, like family members, especially with us traveling so much. Just trying to like keep it down because I don't want to get anybody sick. Thankfully I haven't, not that I know of. I haven't had it. Let me knock on wood. Yeah. knock on wood. Not that I know of anyway, unless, but it's just one of those things. Pandemic was. Hopefully, it's about over with. Starting to see things opening back up, but I don't know. It seems like it's still gonna be a little bit more time before some people are going to take a little bit longer to see what happens, even though things are opening back up.
Yeah, it may start again. I hope not, man.
Yeah.
That's torture, man.
Yeah. Do y'all have anything? Have they had any restrictions on y'all as far as like how many people you can have in there?
Yeah, seating is limited. It's slowly raising. I think the limit was 150. Now it's 250 in the whole building. So kind of like a movie theater's limit, but 250 is the max now. I didn't care if it was 75, bro, honestly. I just said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put it out no matter what. I've been sitting on it. It's time to go to the next thing. So, yeah, it's extremely limited right now.
Talk about it now, and then I'll let you go over it again, like as far as like the release date and how many seatings are like sessions are like openings for the movie.
Okay. April 24th, the Tools premiere is finally here. April 24th, Chapman Culture Center in Spartanburg, South Carolina. We got 2 showings. One at 3 p.m. matinee, Come As You Are, Come In Your Sweats, Come In Your Forces. 7 p.m. is Red Carpet Fresh. 7 p.m. we have a mini concert featuring Reggie Rock, Siege, J.B. Sampson. That's going to be dope. They on the soundtrack. 7 p.m. Red Carpet Fresh. 3 p.m., 7 p.m. Get your tickets now. $20 for matinee, $25 for red carpet, man. So
and when you said Reggie Rock, I remember he was. We went to a play. I'm not. You may know Johnny Sizemore. Johnny writes plays as well. We went to Collateral Damage a few years ago. Phenomenal play. He was Reggie was actually in the movie then. And super dope. He writes music too, right?
Oh yeah, I got all the stuff on right now.
I remember he was actually in the play. Talk a little bit about that soundtrack too.
Man,
has it released yet, or talk a little bit about it?
It will release this week, next week. He had a delay on it, had to get it right. But Siege is on there, it's Reggie Rock on there, man. All original music to accompany the film. It's an EP, 5 songs, 5 original songs. And it kind of correlates with different scenarios in the film. So through their verses, it'll give you kind of a sneak peek of what is in the film. Mm-hmm. So it's, man, when you hear this, man, when you hear that Drowning by Reggie Rock or Alone by J.B. Sampson, it's crazy.
Are they actually in the movie as well, or they just did the soundtrack?
They just did the soundtrack. They kept their word, man. I said, I want y'all on the soundtrack. A year passed, we was rehearsing and everything. They said, I got you. Knocked it out. Told them the concept. Told them what I wanted. They wrote it and knocked it out, man.
That's dope. I know you say you write as well. Did you do anything for the soundtrack, or did you just leave it to them?
I did one hook. And I ain't gonna tell them what it is. I don't people say it's trash, man. I did one hook, man. That Reggie probably tell you. You could tell. Right. Yeah, honestly, you could tell what I wrote or whatever. So
I want to go back to something else you said earlier. You kind of mentioned that you was a minister, and you felt like you didn't get a chance to like really reach people that much. Like, why did you feel like you couldn't reach the people like you wanted to as a minister?
I'm just speaking on my calling. I'm unorthodox. I'm normal. I'm not real churchy. I'm not real preachy. I'm just an ordinary dude that loves God, man. So I just keep that, and I make mistakes. And when I make a mistake, I'm gonna tell you I made a mistake. I'm not gonna front. I'm not gonna, I'm authentic, man. And that's not a popular thing in the church realm. Cause I say slang words and everything. People look at me like, what? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, we normal, we human, we just love God and we just do life, And the Bible just speaks about just doing the best you can in a nutshell. Like, this is wrong, this is right. Choose.
Right. And it's like, you think we hold them to a higher standard? Because I remember at times, being at a family cookout, and then they would say, well, the pastor's coming at this time, so if y'all drinking, make sure y'all do it somewhere else or whatever. So it's like you can't do certain things you want to because they're a pastor, and do you feel like they kind of hold you guys to a higher standard?
I don't like that. I'm like, because I used to get that. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, do you, bro? Like, don't be fake, because I'm not going to be fake. Like sometimes I have a mixed drink in my hand. I'll be like, what you doing? I said, no, being drunk is a sin. I'm straight. Like, but see, people don't have that kind of mindset, and that's why people are walking away. So that's why I chose to do something like this, to show something raw and real. It's cussing in it, it's some sensuality in it. But it's real life, and that's what people need, something that's real, raw, and authentic, that people can relate to, man.
Absolutely, something relatable.
And that's the main goal. If somebody can relate to you can reach them.
Absolutely. Did you have any mentors growing up, or do you have any mentors now that you look to get advice from?
I have mentors that they don't even know that they're my mentors. I guess, follow everything that they do and get inspired. Smith Lee is my mentor from afar. I watch him, I see him do his plays. I was in his plays, and I just saw how he moved. You get inspired by just watching somebody's moves in every footstep. So he was a mentor. He don't know that, but he know now. Right. But Johnny inspired me. He reached out to me, he encouraged me all the time. Of course, my dad. I'm missing one. Oh, and my a pastor that ordained me, Cars. He's one of my biggest mentors. He's just like me, out the box and authentic. So I have my 4 people that, that inspire me and kind of show me their blueprint of what they did and how can I make my own blueprint. It inspired me to make my own blueprint, so to speak. So
just a few more questions and we'll get ready to wrap it up. Speaking of tools, what are some tools that you feel people need in life?
That's a good question. Tools you need in life is especially a vision. Vision and purpose go hand in hand. That's my biggest thing. everybody that knows me knows that. You gotta have a purpose, man. You gotta have a reason for being here. That's a major tool, and that is the foundation of life. Another tool is just to have a sound mind. Be aware of your surroundings. You in life, you have people that's assigned to you in life, but the problem is we get so focused on attachments. Attachments is different than assignments, man. Assignment is something that you're meant to do. That's a vision. Attachments is something just for the now to get you to the next level. And the problem is we hold on to those attachments that weigh us down and keep us from getting to that next level. So know who's for you and who's against you. Vision, knowing your surroundings, and a sound mind. That's the tool, the main tool to life. If you know who you are, can't nobody tell you who you are. If you know what you're set here to do, don't let nobody knock you off that. They may say it's crazy because they're not doing anything with their life. Mm-hmm. You're actually taking the steps to do it. So, sound mind, know who's around you, and vision. That's my go-to.
And awareness, like you were saying too, awareness is huge. Because if not, man, you just go through the motions of life. I remember Ben, man, so much of the things that I learned, he's like, I remember him saying, like, if you don't decide what you want out of life, life will decide for you. And, man, you would just go through those motions of just getting up and, like, just doing the same thing over and over. And that's when it finally hit me, like, man, I gotta stop doing this. I can't live this way of just doing the same thing over and over. And then once you become aware of what's going on, like, you look up and so much time has passed and you've been doing the same thing over and over unconsciously, you just falling into that cycle. So once you become aware, and like you said, just having that vision of what you want out of life, not what anybody else. And it may sound selfish, but it's not it could be your family member, your children, your spouse, whoever is what you want out of life. Because at the end of the day, you have to be happy with yourself first before anything else. And once you get that awareness, man, that's when you finally get the ball rolling, and then you just follow your vision, like you were saying.
I think, speaking of being selfish, I think we all need a moment to be selfish. Mm-hmm. Self-love is the best love, man. We pour into other people, we reach out to other people. Sometimes we just need to focus on ourselves. If you want to call that selfish, so be it. But we just need to stop overlooking ourselves.
That's true.
And neglecting ourselves while helping others. So I think everybody that's successful had a moment of selfishness that they had to go through to get to where they are today. So I think
even as an entrepreneur, anybody with a vision, like you say, you have to have that, because you're gonna have people that's gonna be telling you different things, or you should be doing this, you're doing this, but you have to have that a little bit of stubbornness in you to say, no, I'm gonna stick with what I want to do, because if not, then I'm not following what I want to do. I'm following your vision of what you want me to do. So it's almost like you do have to have that in you. Of course, like for me, I know I have it in me as well, because there's times where my kids want to do things, but I'm so determined, better things for them, and had this vision with this book and everything. I'm like, you know what? Right now, like I need to get this done. I need to do this just to show you guys. Like I don't want them to just feel like it's okay to just settle and just have a job and just do the same thing, because for the longest, only thing we were doing was like what we saw our parents doing. So if I continue doing that and just showing them what my parents did, then they're gonna look at me and say, well, my dad did the same thing. And then we just continue the same cycle, that same cycle over and over, and it comes back to awareness. We're not even aware that we're doing this. We just think that it's normal already.
Right, I'm glad you said that, man. That's I totally forgot, but that's my main. Everything I do in life is centered around my kids. Like, I'm big on legacy. Mm-hmm. So if it succeeds or it fails, I've done it. So I'm like, I did a stand-up comedy thing. It was horrible. I did, but it just let me conquer my fear, of speaking in front of people. So even the film, your daddy did a film. Your daddy, like you said, you wrote a book, or you have that to give to your kids, whether it was successful or not. To say, look, I did this. Imagine what you can do.
Right.
And you give them a head start too when you do that.
Mm-hmm. And it's just some of those things, like coming out of your comfort zone and just doing things that you might not never even thought you would have did. Like for me, like I tell anybody, man, when I was in school at college, I never thought about writing a book. I didn't even think about like creating my own opportunity, man. At that point in time, like I was just there to have fun, live life. We get money, these student loans, like these refund checks. Like this was like the last thing that was on my mind. And then like part of my title of my book, Life is Your Best Teacher, like it hit me like, man, when you hit these real life experiences and things like that, man, then it's like, okay, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna handle these different situations? But it's so important.
And we all go through something, man. Like we was talking off camera about looking for a job and you have lack of experience. Mm-hmm. If you have lack of experience in something, you have to go through something to gain the experience. Mm-hmm. And it's rough. It's bad, but it's necessary to get you to.
And man, sometimes hearing no, that can be the best thing that can happen to you. Like for me, like it forced me to create my own platform. It forced me to create my own book. So it's like, man, if had somebody told me yes from the jump, would I have even? Well, for me, I know part of me is like, man, after a while, I get burnt out. I'll get burnt out doing the same thing. And I'm ready to take on a new challenge, but something that's my own that I've created, man, it's one of the best feelings. So, man, when you hear no, don't even look at it as like something negative. It's like it's a blessing in disguise because it's something actually it's something better for you in the long term.
Facts.
But one of the things, a couple more questions. Do you have any? Let me do this one first. Who do you look for as your inspiration? I know you talk about your mentor, but as an inspiration, where do you get your inspiration from?
Oh man, this may sound typical. Get my inspiration from God, man. Cause I know I don't like. I like to say that, but I don't want it to come off as arrogant, you know. Mm-hmm. Cause I just look outside of my mentors. Is kind of like nobody else, you know, that inspires me or that drives me. I think the fire comes from within. That's God given, you know. If I'm operating off my purpose, and when I do that, and me just doing it and seeing what the people that God has brought me, that inspires me, man. And I would say any underdog, period, inspires me. Put it that way, because I'm not in no groups or cliques or I'm known, but I'm not known. Put it that way. But I'm an underdog, so I thrive off that, and I get inspired by other underdogs that step out and do something amazing. So you could say that.
Absolutely.
That's a first, you know. Underdogs.
we're gonna celebrate the movie and the soundtrack that's getting ready to release, but going forward, are there any other things like movies that you look to create in the future? Yeah,
I'm glad you said that. The next project is called Canvas. There is no date on it yet. Bear with me, it may take another 2 years, but I know I'm gonna do it. It's totally different than Tools. It's called Canvas. It's a murder mystery. And it's not what you expect. So that's the next project we're gonna take. And there's some other short films we're trying to do. I got something real crazy coming. That's not a movie or film, but it's like a vlog of somebody's life. But he's gonna go through some stuff. So just be on the lookout for Canvas and that vlog series we got coming, man.
Absolutely. My last and final question we like to ask people is, what does self-investment mean to you?
If you don't invest in yourself, don't expect nobody else to invest in you. It starts with you first. Don't blame mama, don't blame daddy. Mm-hmm. It starts with you first. When you hit 18, you have to start it, or 21, some people are fortunate. Mm-hmm. You have to invest in yourself, man. Like, with the film, I invested in myself. Before I ask somebody to donate money, I made sure I put my money in it first. Before I wrote anything, somebody had to buy pencils. So anything that you do, make sure you invest in yourself, man. And it's very important because it shows your value. When you invest in yourself, it shows how much you think you're worth. Mm-hmm. Cause I met a guy here, because it started here in the Elephant Group building. I met a guy, he was a restaurateur. He had like 20-something restaurants, so I know he had M's. And that's the first thing he said to me. He said, "How much did you put into it?" And I said, "Nothing." He said, "Don't expect nobody to give you anything if you haven't given anything to it yourself." So that was the biggest thing. And I, if you just look at it, like these mics you bought, you invest in it to show people that, hey, I believe in myself. Do you believe in me too?
Absolutely. Now I tell you the story about actually behind the mics.
Okay.
So when I started out, the only thing I had was a laptop. And my friend reminded me yesterday, one of the very first ones we were gonna do together. We actually recorded at it's his wife now. We recorded at the time it was his girlfriend. They married now, but we actually recorded one of the first episodes at her apartment. And only thing I had was a laptop. So I used to just take that laptop, man. I used to just go to different places all the time and just sit down and just interview a lot of entrepreneurs. The only thing I had was my laptop, but I would take it. I learned how to edit the audio from one of my part-time jobs at a radio station, and I would just upload everything. And then last year, we were getting ready to go on tour. We did our self-investment tour last year. So I was talking to my brother, and I told him, man, I'm about to go ahead and invest in my equipment and some mics and everything. And he told me, man, just wait. I'm going to let my wife look and see what she can find for you. And I always been the type to just go get it, like figure out a way to get it on my own. So I went ahead and bought a couple of microphones. I think they're in my bag back there. And next thing you know, I told him, hey, man, I got a mixer and I bought a microphone. We getting ready to hit the road. He's like, man, I told you to wait. So randomly, he texted me, said, man, let's go out to eat. Me and my friends, we said, me and the boys, we're going to go out to eat. So we went and got something to eat at Wild Wings, the one down by the Olive Garden. And we finished eating, and my homeboy Marcus, he came in and had a big box. And in the box, it had these microphones. They gave me a big mixer. This was one of the mixers that I bought. But they had a microphone, had headphones, everything in it. So it was like you were saying, like a full kit right before we hit the road. And it was like you saying, like, don't expect anybody to invest in you if you don't invest in yourself. Right. And it was just like I said, when you get started on your journey, you have a vision. Like, you'll be amazed at what people will do for you. So here I was, just went ahead and bought a couple of microphones. I think I only had like 2 microphones, and I bought this small mixer right here. But next thing I know, maybe like a week later is when they came with the full kit, the headphones, a mixer, everything in, like fully loaded. So it was just about like having that vision and, there you go. Like you said, investing in yourself, and then other people start investing in you. So I was like, man, I'm forever grateful because they didn't have to do that, and they kept a little private group chat and left me out of it, so I didn't even know about it. And I was just thinking like, my brother just about to just take me out randomly, so we just went out to eat, and man, next thing you know, I just had all this equipment. So it's like, man, you'll be amazed. Like I said, I don't think I had it at the beginning. It was just a laptop. Didn't have this, or I had my cameras I had from home. And we just started going, man. And then once thing you know, more and more things will start happening and falling into place. And so it's like it's a blessing, man. But like you said, the self-investment that I learned is always the best investment. Better than any stock or anything that you can put money into. Like when you pour into yourself.
Books or whatever.
Yes. That's the best investment, man. I read it. I tell anybody now, I read more books now than any point that I ever did in my whole time in college. Like, I read so many books now. Like, it's crazy. Like, that's all I'm doing. Reading books or just watching podcast interviews with other entrepreneurs and figuring out some of the things that they had to go through to get to where they are. And nobody had, like, a smooth transition. It's just, kind of like figuring it out as you go and just studying what other people do. It's like...
That's the key, man. And that's the cheat code, man. It's just if you look at how people... A lot more people are talking about the struggle now in entrepreneurship. Before, we just saw people that's millionaires or on TV. I said, man, but you see their story now. I was homeless, or I was about to go back to work. Like the dude on, I don't know if you watch Snowfall.
I haven't seen
the guy with the I forgot his name. The guy with the fro. He was a young dude. He worked as a janitor, and he said he was just gonna get a full-time job because he's done with acting. And somebody called him and said, we got an audition for you. He went to the audition. He booked it on his first try. Just as he was about to go back because he was broke. Back to work because he was broke. We come to our lowest point to get to our highest point, man, and I'm a testament to that. And that's awesome. He bought you a full kit, man. And it's going to keep going, man. It's going to keep, God's going to keep blessing. me, you, everybody, man, that actually is taking steps towards entrepreneurship is freedom, man.
It is.
I'm just gonna say that.
It is. I love the freedom, man, and it's just like I said earlier, like the impact that you have on people that you don't even know. Like they'll reach out to you, say, "Hey, you inspired me. I appreciate what you're doing." Like I said, man, I didn't know people were gonna reach out to me. I didn't know who was gonna show up to my event for the book signing. Like it's just so many things, and when you see how you just bring these people together, and they enjoy your journey, and they just willing to support you. It's one of the best feelings in the world.
You never know who's watching you, man.
You never know.
My wife used to say that a lot. You never know who's watching you. I'm like, yeah, the people I know watching me. He said, no. Strangers are watching you.
Strangers are watching.
I'm gonna tell this story. I'm gonna quit. I ordered some food the other day. It's kind of funny. Ordered some food the other day. So I was outside on my steps waiting on it. See the car come up. He pulled up. He was creeping at first. I said, that's gotta be my food right there. I was gonna hit the gas and swerved in. Hey, what's up, man? I got your food, bro. It's hot. I'm like, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. He handed me the food. I'm like, do I know? He said, hey, man, I thought that was you, man. I appreciate you. Congratulations on your film, man. Everything, it looks awesome, bro. I'm like, okay. Hey, the food smells awesome, man. I'm like, who are you? Like, but that just shows people that, they may not never like your status. They may not ever talk to you in person, but they're always watching you, man. They're always watching.
Like I told you before earlier, like my barber saw you. Like my barber saw you on TV. Like I was telling him we getting ready to shoot the interview, and he was like, "Yeah, I seen him on the news." Like, yeah. He's like, "Yeah, I know all about it." I was like, "Man, that's dope." Like I said, you never know. Like people you don't know, it's always be mindful of the things that you put out. Like I don't care who it is. Like for anybody that's an entrepreneur, like I see some people just post crazy things sometimes, but you got to be mindful of what you do with because even if you don't have a job or anything, you're on social media, you have a platform. So be responsible for what you put out. And like you said, you see how sometimes those things come back on people. They could post something 10 years ago and how all of a sudden comes back on them now. So it's like always be mindful of what you put out because you don't want anything negative to come back to you. Like you said, you never know who's watching. But before we got out of here, I'm going to let you do two things. First thing I want you to do is just give people a word of encouragement before we get out of here.
Man, my word of encouragement, man, is never give up, man. Nothing in life that is meant to have is easy. You got to grind, you got to work, and most importantly, people ain't gonna tell you this, but you have to suffer. You have to suffer. Everything beautiful comes from suffering. When a woman is pregnant for 9 months, when they push that baby out, it hurts, it's painful. But when you hold that baby, it's a peace that comes over you. It's a joy that comes over you. You never wish anything bad on that baby. So when you're working on your baby, as in terms of your dreams and your goals and your visions, just know that pain is required. Suffering is required. If it comes easy, it's going to leave quick. Cherish those painful moments. See the beauty in it. Learn from it, most importantly. You don't take L's, you take lessons. Learn it, study it, and try not to do it ever again. Elevate. People who's gonna hate on you, people that ain't going through what you're going through, and on the outside looking in may call you crazy, but they're the ones really crazy because they're not doing what they're called to do, but you are. So don't try to fit in. Stand out. Stand up for what you are put here to do. Keep tunnel vision. Know who's around you, and just stay focused, man. Don't never give up. Just when you're about to quit, something is going to happen that'll shift your life. You're one handshake away from a millionaire that could change your life. You're one handshake away that somebody could say a sentence and it would change your perspective on life. It happened to me. It happened to Carlos. It happened to every one of us, man, that we keep going and we are fueled by the negative. Fueled by the negative. Positive, we have that too, but somebody says you can't do nothing, that should give you fuel to keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And before we get out of here, I just want to let you know I appreciate you, Mr. Oglesby. This was great.
Appreciate you.
Looking forward to the movie coming out, the movie premiere. Before we get out of here, can you tell everybody how to find you on social media and also when to tune in to the premiere?
Everybody, forget about me. Follow the Tools Project, THETOOLS Project. If you don't know how to spell project, go back to school. It's PROJECT, Tools Project. IG, same thing. And also follow the company web IG, O6 Films, OSIX Films. And just stay on the lookout for the Tools premiere April 24th, Chapman Cultural Center. 2 showings, 3 p.m. matinee, Come As You Are, 7 p.m. red carpet, and a mini concert. A 2-hour and 15-minute feature-length film, the first ever in Spartanburg. So come out, celebrate with us. Your support goes a long way. So hope to see y'all in the building. And just follow me if you want to, Jonathan Oglesby, JONATHAN OGLESBY.
Absolutely. So we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Until next time, make sure you tune in to the Tools premiere April 24th. So until next time, keep chasing dreams. This is Cross the Line Podcast. Thank you for listening.
Hey, this is Jonathan Oglesby, the director of Tools, and you're now watching Cross the Line Podcast.